Hello and welcome to Hidden Peels for the Java High Performance Persistence. My name is Sven Ruppert, and in this part of this tutorial we want to see the solution called XODUS. If you're interested in this, stay tuned. Okay, XODUS. What the name coming from, who's the creator, and what we can do with this. So far, XODUS. This is a transactional schemaless embedded database used by JetBrains products, UTrack and JetBrains Hub. Okay, so far you can read it in the internet, but the main thing is I will give you his URL so that you can see where you can check out the source code. It's an open source solution from JetBrains. JetBrains is the company behind IntelliJ and TeamCity and all this. So they have a strong and long history in languages, computer languages, and they created Kotlin, for example. And they had the need for persistence for their products. UTrack is an issue tracker, and there you have mostly a bunch of attributes to one issue and so on. So they needed persistence, and what they have done, they created XODUS. And XODUS is a transactional and fully exit compliant, so they have they're exit compliant, and they are optimized for highly concurrent modification, or better, reads. So reads are completely non-blocking, and this is based on MVCC. In my previous section I had some ideas about MVCC, so if you want to have this information again, just check out the previous section. So XODUS, what XODUS is, it is schemaless, means that you can just modify the schema itself, and what we have is document-oriented approach here. It's written completely in Java and Kotlin, and available under Apache license, so mostly this is a business-friendly license. What you can do with this, or how you could start with this. So if you want to use XODUS, then you need at least the API, and then you have the possibility to work with 3 implementations of this API. I will give you the so here or here or there, I don't know. So the dependency itself is org JetBrains XODUS, and the artifact AD is an XODUS minus open API, and then the actual release information. So check GitHub for the latest release, and then you have 3 implementations of this. And this, the first one is environment, the second one is entity source, and the third one is virtual file system. So what can you do with this one? Have in mind that the need was coming from an issue tracker. It means you have some kind of issue, and then you have different attribute lists per issue and issue type, and then you have to associate issues together and all this stuff. So this is mostly something that fits very good to document-oriented persistence solutions. And they split it up in these 3 implementations. The first one is environment, and this is a transactional key value store. And you have it in 2 flavors. It's with duplicates and without duplicates. So what it means is you are storing hash maps or multi-maps. So to get this one, you have this class environment, and you calling a new instance, and then you're redirecting to some part of your file system. And this is a good thing. You can do it inside your Java process, so it's an embedded solution. And the next good thing is it's just pointing to some kind of file system, and if you're shutting down the process, you can just make an archive from this directory, and that's your backup. So very easy. Everything that what you're doing with this persistently is inside a transaction, so it's really strongly exit here, everything. And that means you're creating first this environment. Here it's called environments.newInstance with a location on your hard disk. Then you will get this environment. From this environment, you can start executing transaction, and then you have this lambda construction, and the input param will be the transaction delivered by this framework. And based on this one, you can say, I'm open the store, and then you're grabbing an instance of this multi or hash map art. So every hash map or every multi-map will have its own name or ID. So think about a scaling naming schema if you need this one in a little bit bigger project. And then you have a store. And this store, you just have the possibility to say, put stuff in or get some stuff out or delete. So it means you have this key value pairs, and key value pair means that you need, first of all, the ID, so the from the attribute, so attribute name or whatever, and then the value itself. So this one, if you're looking at the source code here, is you have to think about how to serialize this stuff, so how to make some kind of stream or byte stream or whatever out of it. If you have complex attributes, you have to think about how to decompose it if this is necessary, but they have the string binding and other binding support utilities already that you can just use. And here you see even a string. You have the string binding, string to entry, and string to for hello and world. So that's the main thing. You have to make sure that you can serialize your stuff, but then it's inside a transaction, and that's it. So it's really easy to deal inside a process with different users on this one. So you can hold this like a static attribute. The next one is called entity store. So entity store is a little bit more complex. So now you have the possibility to have these entities. And an entity is just a holder for a bunch of attributes. And the good thing here is that you can start linking them together. So the key value map we had before is just, I have an entity, a hash map with a name, I will get it, and inside this hash map I can put and remove and get attributes with values or keys with values. And here you have this bucket where you can put different attributes in, and then you can link entities together. So you can start building trees and graphs. So everything is transactional again, and you can query data and so on. So how to do this one? Again, you have this persistence entity store with new instance. So they are creating the instance, they are managing this one, pointing again to a location on your file system. And then inside your entity store, again, you have this lambda construction. The transaction again is the input, and inside this transaction you can do different things. If you want to create an entity, you have to use a transaction for this. So grab an instance of the attribute from the entity, from the transaction, and then start modifying it and setting properties, removing properties, whatever. So this is a basic behavior. So we have from key value now the possibility to have a document with attributes, and we are able to link. And the last one here for this is the virtual file system. The virtual file system itself is for the possibility to store binaries. So if you are thinking again, this is coming from an issue tracker, then you need something like an associated PDF or image or whatever. And they created this API for this one here. It's called virtual file system. And again, what you have to do is environments, new instance, pointing to a location on your database. Then you have this virtual file system. Inside this virtual file system, execute in transaction. And again, a lambda construction, you have this transaction, and based on this one, you can work. And as you can see here, creating files and all this stuff is always created with a transaction, or the transaction will give you the entity you are working on, like this file, for example. And then you have data output stream, input stream, and so on. You can just dump down bytes and read bytes and all that stuff. So very convenient if you have to deal with images or binary blobs, whatever. So, and everything together is a very powerful persistence tooling or persistence environment. So have in mind it's strongly exit compliant, so you have everything inside transactions. You can deal with the instance inside your JVM process. You're pointing to a file system, and then you just need to back up this one or to restore it if you're just copying back this stuff. So this is the solution from JetBrains. Some things. Can you buy support for it? I don't know. I assume no, you can't buy dedicated support for this one, but it's open source and JetBrains is working on it. So it's a bigger company. They have excellent engineers. So if you have some bugs or issues, just go to GitHub, open a bug, and start communicating with JetBrains. So this is this kind of support. It's Apache license, so you can use it inside your projects, and it's open source. You can see what's going on inside, and it's embedded in your Java process. So perfect for this one. If you have the need for document-oriented or key-value pairs and you have to deal with binaries, XODUS is definitely one of the tiny tools you should have an eye on it. So far, try it out.